today I want to show you how you can make this input tag something like this. This is just a demo project. Here we have 3 tags and here we have 3/5. So let's add more tags. Let's say Ben, let's say Max, let's say John. Sorry, it's not the correct spelling of John. So you see here we have 5/5. So this page says maximum reached. So we have reached number of tags that are needed or required. So here you can remove one. You can remove. So you see when you remove, this goes to 3 because we have 3. It updates. So we can remove all of this. Okay. So this is just what we'll be building. So here this is a project, and I just did the HTML and the CSS. So this is our JavaScript because we're using jQuery. So I'm using the document.ready function. So right in our HTML, we just have some. We have here. This is just the markup. Here we have the heading. We have a wrapper that wraps the project. You can see where the wrapper ends. So here we have the tag container. We have tag counter, the counter, and we have our input tag. There's nothing much here, so you can pause the video and just copy all of this. All right. So we go to CSS. So we have just done some little CSS markup on the wrapper, on the wrapper container, on the tag, close button. We have the input styling right here, the tag container. Here we have the btn container also, and then we have the remove btn styling. So you can pause the video and get all these tags. Okay, so let's jump right to the JavaScript. Okay, so here we will go to our JavaScript. So the first thing we're going to target is this. So if you check here, we have 0/5. So the 5 here is hard coded, and I don't want it to be 5. I want it to be something like 7. So what the first thing we're going to do, we're going to say that the var set a variable of max tag. That's a maximum tag we're going to have. Let's set it to 6. Okay, so we will get the maximum tag. Where is it? This tag right here. Okay, this is what we are targeting. So we will target it to here, max tag, dot text, and we want to impute the max tag right here. Okay, so here it is 6. So when we go to the project and refresh, so you see right here it is 6. Okay, so we're going to add a functionality to the input. Remember, there's an input here. Sorry, I just say remember. There's an input. So when we type in something and type in the comma, we want the tag to be generated. Just like here, we have something like this, and so you see. Okay, so we're gonna attach an event listener on the input. So we're gonna say here tag container input. Okay, and the event we're going to be listening is the key up event. So we have function right here, and let's add the function right here. Okay, so here we are first of all going to get the value that is being typed in. So we can call that value to be tag. So let's say tag is equal to this. So this refers to this input. All right, this dot var, the value, and we are also trimming the value at the same time. Okay, we are trimming the value at the same time. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check if the user types in a comma into the field, or if the value that is being gotten here, if the value that we have here has comma. Okay, if it has comma, so we're going to say that if tag dot includes, if the tag includes a comma, all right, if it includes a comma, so we are going to if it includes a comma, okay, because if it has a comma, we want to do something. and what we want to do is we want to generate this tag if it includes a comma. All right, so after checking this, the next thing we are going to check is if the tag ends with a comma. If it ends with a comma, so we're gonna say if tag dot ends with, right, we're gonna check if it ends with a comma. So if it ends with a comma, we want to remove the comma at the last part of it. Okay, so we're gonna say tag is equal to tag dot slice. We're gonna slice the tag. Okay, I'm gonna put 0 right here, and we're gonna slice at the end of it. Okay, so else, if it does not contain comma at the end, we're gonna say else, and we say what tag is equal to tag. Okay, so the tag means the tag. So after this, what we're gonna do is to create our tag. So this is a function which I'm going to write the function. So we pass in the tag to the function. So when we have passed in the tag to the function, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clear the input field. We're going to clear it, so nothing should be in there again. So we're going to say tag container input. So here we get the value, and we set the value to be none. Okay, the value here is going to be none. And now remember, we are checking if it includes comma. But then if it does not include comma, all right, if it does not, we can say else. We simply also, we are also going to remove this. Okay, we will still set the input field to to end. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to create this this function right here. Okay, so let's go down here, and as a function create tag, and we're gonna pass this tag parameter away. So let's get a container that will contain all the tags. Okay, so let's tag container. So this will contain, or this will be the parent element to the tag. So we have here div, and have a class of tag. Okay, and we're gonna close this up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we want to include a span. The span will be a container for the text, for the value actually. So we want to have here span. Span is equal to, we're going to create an element span. So here I'm going to use, sorry, not to use this because I need to impute a variable. So we're going to have span and span. So the span will it will be the container for the value that we're going to be imputing into the tag. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to add close btn. Let's say var close btn. If you check right here, we have this. All right, so here the whole of this green is the tag container. Then inside the tag container we have a span that contains this, and then we have this. So these three elements is what we're trying to create with JavaScript right here. Okay, so here we're going to say that the close btn is going to be it's going to be a button. Okay, it's going to be a button with a class of close. So we're going to have a class of close, and the value is going to be that times. Okay, and then we're going to close the button. All right, so having done this, the next thing we're going to do is to append this. I know we need to append this in, we need to append the two of this into this, because this span and this close btn should be appended into this. All right, so that is the next thing we're going to do. So we simply say let category, let's use the word category. Let category is equal to tag the tag container that we created, tag container dot append. Okay, so we're going to append the span, which is the span we created, this span here, and we're also going to append the close btn. So we are appending these two, this span at the close btn to the tag container here. Okay, to make it just one element. All right, so after we have done that, the next thing we are going to do is to append whatever the value we have here to the input tag. Okay, so we can select the input, so we select here and say that tag container container input. Okay, input of before, then we're going to add a category to it. All right, so we have added this category to it. So having added this category, the next thing we're going to do is to clear the input tag. We don't want to input, we don't want anything to be in the input tag and this thing again. So we're simply going to say tag container input. So we're going to set the value to be empty. The value is going to be empty. All right, so with this we should be able to create a tag. So let's go to the project and see what we have. Let's say web. Oh, we're having a problem. Okay, let me get rid of this first and see. Let me see why it's doing what it's doing. What's wrong? Okay, let me see. Okay, I think the problem is because here I was saying even if it doesn't end with this, I want to set this into else I want to set this to be new value, empty value. So let's comment this out and then go back to our code. So let's refresh this and we enter web with our comma. Okay, so you can see right here we can say tab. Okay, so this is pretty much working. Okay, so having done this, the next thing we're going to do is if you check from here, you can see we can enter web here, web here. So we don't want to duplicate values. All right, so we want to we're going to write a function that we get rid of the duplicate value. Okay, so let's go straight to our code and let's come right down here and let's write a function that says is duplicate. So we're going to check, we're going to pass the tag. So we're going to check if the tag is duplicate. That means if the tag is already there. So if it's already there, we're going to get rid of it. So we're going to set the tag span oh sorry, it's not the correct spelling. Span is equal to the tag container the tag the children span. So here we are simply selecting this span right here. Okay, this span right here, that's what we're selecting because the span contains the value, is a parent element to the value. Okay, so we get that tag and we're gonna say const my array, all right, is equal to this tag is not just one, they are more than, like we have 1 2 3 here. Okay, so we are selecting all of them, and when we select all of them, there's going to be a HTML collection. So I'm going to convert the tag span to array. All right, so I'm going to say array dot from, all right, from the tag span. Okay, so we convert this into an array, and we're going to have another array which is going to be tags. Okay, so it's going to be an empty array. All right, so having gotten this to be an empty array, I want to look through this and then get all the values. Remember, what we're trying to do is to make sure that we do not have any duplicate value. So the only way to get is to get the values, and we can be able to iterate. So we're going to use the for each. So we say here that for let I is equal to equal to 0. All right, I less than my array dot length. Okay, we're going to increment plus plus. Okay, so what we are simply going to do now is we're going to say tags dot push. This is push, so we're going to get all the tags right here. So we're going to get the values. This is going to give us the values. So we're trying to get all the values and then push it into this array. So we're going to have the array of all the values of the input tag. Okay, so here we're going to say my array, the current iteration, the current iteration that inner text. So we're going to get the inner text that to lowercase. So we're going to make it to lowercase. Okay, so we are pushing all the values one after the other into this. Okay, so having done that, so what we're going to do, we're going to start checking. So we say if tag that includes if includes tag that to lower to lowercase. So what we're trying to say now is if this tag here that is being passed in, that is what we just typed in, if it is found, or if it is in this array, that means there's a duplicate value. Okay, yeah, that's what it means, there's a duplicate value. So we say, so you're going to return true. So if you find what the user just typed in inside this of array, then return true. So that means is duplicate true. All right, else that means if it is not found, else. So we're gonna get the tag length. So let's get a tag length. We're gonna say the tag length is equal to tags dot length. Okay, and that's length plus 1. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do is to update the counter here. Yeah, all right, this counter right here. So we're going to update it. That's what we're trying to do. We're going to get this counter, this number, so that we can be able to get a number that counts. So if we have the 3 tags here, so then here we should have 3 and not 0. Okay, so we can say now that tag counter the children, we want to get a children, the one that has span with an ID of counter. Okay, the text. So we want to insert the text. So we want to use the tag length. Okay, right. So okay, so we're gonna tag length. So inside here, after we have updated this, all right, after we updated this, what I mean is when the user type in something and then this have to search through this is going to be an array, so it will have to search through what is already typed in. If it is not typed in already, if it is found here, to return true. That means, you know, this is a duplicate value. But if not, you know, if it is not, then you have to update this. So if you have 2 here and then you decide this one is going to be 3 or 4 or 5. Okay, so we go back to back here and we'll say the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check if, you know, the tag length is equal to maximum. All right, so remember we have 6 here, so we should, if we have up to 6 here, we should not allow this user to type in anything again. Okay, so we're gonna say if the tag length minus 1 is equal to the max tags, that is the maximum that we need. So if it is up to that, excuse me, so if it is up to that, we're gonna set the child, that's the counter, tag counter dot children. So we have the span span of counter dot text, so max length. Okay, so what we're doing here is what here, if here we just get the number of tags and then update it, but then if they are equal, so it has to be 6, so we set it to the maximum to be 6. That's exactly what we did here. Okay, then when we have done that, we want to return max. Let's say max, that means we have reached the maximum, and we can say here else we have to return false. So that means it doesn't exist, it's not a duplicate value. Okay, so we are done with this. I think there's nothing else we need to do in this is duplicate. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we have to use this in our create tag, because before we create a new tag, we should be able to check if it's a duplicate or not. If it's a duplicate, then we create the tag. If it is not a duplicate, rather we create the tag. But if it's a duplicate, then we're not going to create the tag. Okay, so what we are going to do here, so we come over to this point, to the create tag function, and immediately after this, actually this is responsible for displaying the tag. So before we are able to create this, so we have to check. So we say if it's duplicate, then we pass in the tag. If the duplicate is equal to true, that means yes, it's a duplicate. We are going to alert say tag already, can spell that, already exists. So we just say tag already exists. Okay, that is if it's a duplicate, we say it already exists. Else if it's duplicate, is the passing our tag. So if its duplicate is equal to false, right? If it is equal to false, that means we have to create the tag. Okay, so if it's equal to false, we have to check if the tag is not equal to I want to show you something. So if we come right here and we type comma, just only comma, you see what happens, it creates the tag. So we don't want this to happen, so we have to check if the value right here just only comma, we are not going to create. As you can see, it creates nothing, it's an empty value. So this is wrong, this should not be. Okay, this should not be. So we have to check. So we have to say if tag is not equal to comma, all right, if it's not equal to comma, then we're going to do something. If it's not equal to comma, then we have to create this. This is when we create this form, we create it. Okay, you know, all right. So if it's not, so if it is duplicate, now the next thing we're going to check is else if it's duplicate, then we pass in our tag. If it's equal to max, that's the maximum, all right? If it is equal to maximum, what we're going to remember here, we say we are returning three things. Either we return true or we return false, or we return max. So we're returning three things, so we're checking for all of this. So if we return max, what are we going to do? We're going to alert the user. We're going to alert the user and tell the user, we can say you have reached the maximum required. All right, so we're going to pass this information to the user. We're going to alert this information to the user. Okay, so let's go back and see what we have. Let's try to, let's say web, what's wrong. Let me check it out and see why. Okay, let's inspect this and see why. Let's go to inspect, go to console. Okay, it says on code reference error tag subpair. Okay, I mean that was a mistake. That's in 54. So let's go to line 54 and check line 54. Okay, that's tag span here. Okay, that was a type error. Okay, so I think this should be, yeah, we should be good to go. Okay, so you can see, let's try type web again. So you say tag already exists. Okay, I think that's working pretty fine. Let's web again. Okay, that is wrong because we've typed web already. Let's say 5t. Okay, you can see me u dot 8. Okay, so you have reached the maximum required because here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, so we have 6 already. But we've got a problem because okay, the 6 is updated. All right, so I think the next thing we need to do is this remove. When we click on this, nothing happens, I think, and then they remove all. That's the 2 things that are left. So let's get back to our code and insert that. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do right here is to create a function that's going to close function. We're going to call it close, and we're going to attach an event listener to the close. All right, where let me show you. Okay, right here we have this. All right, this close, and this is this x, this small x is responsible for that. Okay, so let's go right here and add click event to it. So we will say that this we want to target the parent tag dot remove because we want to remove it. All right, we're simply going to remove it. Okay, we simply remove it. Let's see if that works. So let's type in our web here and click on it. It doesn't work. Why? Let's inspect and see what the problem is. Oh, it's not showing us any problem here either. Okay, I think during the create we need to call this function right here. Okay, let's go back to the create. Okay, create tag. All right, so here we're gonna call this the close function. So we're gonna call the close function right here. Okay, so during each of the creates, the close function should be called. So I will click on this, you can see it goes off. We can have web me u that main. All right, so we can click each of these and get rid of them one after the other. All right, and I guess that's really working. So let's go back here and complete what we were doing. So the next thing we're going to do is we have to update the counter. Okay, we have to update the counter whenever we remove an element. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do right here is we go to let's say span is equal to tag container, right? Tag container. We want to select the tag. Okay, all the tags, and we want to select all their children, the children tag of span. I think I didn't spell this correctly. Did I? Okay, sorry, I missed. Okay, so we want to select all the span and convert them to array. You can say my array. We can see is that my array we used to be equal to array dot from span. Okay, so this will give us the number of the number we have. So what we're simply going to do now is to update the counter, with this new value. So we can say tag counter dot children span with an ID of counter. You know, the child span that have an ID of counter. So we want to update the text with my array, dot length. Okay, I think that's gonna do it. So let's refresh this and go back to our web menu dot. Let's try to delete this. So you see this comes 3 because we have 3 left here. We delete this 2, but there are left 2 here. We delete this 1 and we delete this. It's gonna go back to 0. So I will type web. Oh, I noticed that this is not updating. It is not updating. Let's check why. Why is it not updating? So let's check our code to know why it's not updating. Okay, yeah. So here we didn't select, we didn't add the hash to it. Okay, because it's an ID. Okay, just it is something as what we have as an ID. So let's go back to what we have here and let's say web. Okay, so we have 1 and we have 1 here is updated to 1. Let's say development. So we have to, let's say, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so you see there are 3. So when we click on this, that goes off. When we click on this goes off. When we click on this, so 1 is left. Right. So the last thing we have to do is this one, that of remove all. When we click on this button, we want whatever we type in right here to go off. So let's go into it. Okay, so let's go back to our script.js. So we're going to add a click event. We're going to attach the click event to the remove btn. Remember, that's the name, remove btn.click. We're going to add a function to it, and so what we're simply going to do is we want to get all the tags. Okay, since all the tags are they have a class of tag, so we want to get all of the tags and we remove them. All right, so we're simply going to remove all the tags. Okay, so let's go back and see what we have got. So let's say web menu dot something like this. So let's click on this. So that works, but here we still have 5, so we have to find a way to update this. Okay, so what we're simply going to do is to reset the value of this counter. So let's just copy what we have here and we come right down here and we're gonna reset the value to 0. Okay, yeah, I think, and let's reset it to 0. Let's say you got them, something like this. So when we say, you can see it goes back to 0. Okay guys, it's been a long video. I didn't want this video to be so long, but so you can see with this you can be able to create web please, let's say please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share my videos. So when I'm trying to say thanks to you, so it said you have reached the maximum because we've gotten to the maximum. Okay, so we can delete one of these, 2 of these, and these updates we can remove all of them. So guys, we've come to the end of the video. Thank you. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, click on the notification bell so we get updates when we post more videos, and please don't forget to like and share my video. Thank you.